Good morning, guys. So we've been trying to figure out how to spruce up our patio out here and how to make it better for people when they come over. One thing that we've been trying to do for a while is get a better patio table, but it seems like we can't find a good one or a decent one online for cheap. So I made one. So we're going to show you how I made this table in one day. And next week we're going to show you how I stained it and sealed it using some liming wax and some polyurethane. Welcome to our channel, guys. Here we show you how we turned our house into our small family farm. We're going to show you how we accomplished lots of small projects around the house and how you can do them too. Alright, so let's get started. First thing is I got a cut list all put together of all the boards we need to cut. So I'm going to make all of these straight cuts first, and after that we'll go ahead and do the angled ones as we see fit. So we got all the wood cut. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to get the end 2x4s put together. We're going to cut some pocket holes in using our Craig jig. If you've never seen these before, they're pretty useful. And then we're going to work on getting the underpiece put together so we can start putting the tabletop in. To make it easy, I'm going to go ahead and mark every 12 inches out on two of these 105.5-inch boards so we can just start drilling. So this is really easy to use. So all you do is you set it in here. I'm going to line it up with the middle hole in this jig. You tighten it in by using this little thing, whatever you call it. You got your drill set in. I measure it so I make sure it goes 1.5 inches into the wood itself. If you get these brand new, it'll have a ring, and that's really useful, but I've since lost it a long time ago. So then you just drill in here until it stops, and then you can take it out. Pretty simple. And as you can see, little pocket hole in there, so later we'll be able to put a screw in here and attach it without it showing any signs of a screw from the outside. Okay. So next thing we're going to do is put some pocket holes on the end of these 2x6s, because the tabletop is basically going to alternate 2x4, 2x6 to kind of create a staggered look. So these pocket holes, what they're doing is holding the sides on that we're going to mount onto it. So we need to make sure to put pocket holes on the top and on the bottom of these to hold on the end piece. My trick for this is lean them up against something tall like the garage here, and that way you can get it more stabilized when you do the pocket hole. So now all of our pocket holes are drilled. Before we start laying out the top, what we're going to do is we're going to cut 3 of these 39.5-inch boards. We're going to chop off basically a 45-degree angle on the ends of them, and what that'll do is just help provide stability underneath the table, and that's how we're going to screw together all the boards with these underneath it. Okay, so everything is cut for the tabletop now, so we're going to go ahead and lay it out. Basically, you want to start with the 2 2x4s on the ends that have those pocket holes we drilled earlier, and then go 2x6, 2x4s, 2x6, 2x4, basically. So we'll get it laid out and then we'll take a look. Okay, now that we've got everything laid out, what we're going to do is use my pipe clamp to kind of pull everything together so it's nice and tight. Then we're going to take our wood glue, put it on the bottom of these 39.5-inch pieces, and we're going to set it down. After we do that, we're going to countersink drill bit. What this does is it'll go down into the wood. See this piece here? It actually cuts out the hole for the head, so that way it'll actually sink down into the wood farther, so we can go over it later with wood filler so you don't even see the screws. Now we'll put on our wood glue. This will just help give a little bit of support to it. Carefully rough up. Perfect. So now that one's done, we'll just go through and do the other two on the ends, and then we'll take a look. Okay, so now that the actual tabletop is done, next thing we're going to do is do the boards that will actually go around it. So we're going to use the 208.5-inch beams for the sides, and I forget what the other length is, but we're going to make 45-degree cuts on those so that way they fit in around and they just look nice and even there. So we're going to go ahead and get the 45-degree cuts done on the ends of them, and we'll be back with you. So something here to note as you're doing this, these boards don't fit like perfect. So I'd rather have them be a little bit long and have to cut them down little by little just to make them fit just right. But don't take off too much at a time, just little bits at a time. And I had to kind of shave down one of the boards. So now I'm going to end up using the pipe clamp to pipe clamp these two long sides together, pull them together, and then I'm going to use the Craig jig or pocket hole screws to attach everything, and then I'll come back later and attach these smaller ends, basically these ones and the one down at the other end. Alright, top is done. That's pretty easy. Took, I don't know, an hour and a half or so to start cutting everything and get that put together. So I'm going to take a short break, get something to drink. I'm going to come back out and we're going to do the legs. Now that the top is done, let's go ahead and get started on the base. So it's just a matter of assembling the different pieces and cutting the 45-degree angles. So basically, I got my 6-inch pieces underneath here. I'm going to do 4 countersink holes in each end. I'm going to apply some glue to my 6-inch pieces just to give it a little extra stability. And then we're basically going to do the same thing for the smaller piece that fits right on top, just like that. Alright, so the next thing to be done are these 24-inch pieces. They are going to go up here, kind of like that. So what we're going to do is, to make sure they're secured, we're going to put pocket holes in here on the sides, so that way there's no holes or screws showing when we're all done. Once both legs are together, we're going to attach both of them to the base of the table before we put the cross the diamond on the bottom. Just make sure it's nice and even before you start attaching it. Okay, so this plan actually calls for that cross member that goes in between the two base pieces to be ripped down to basically a 2x3 to fit. I don't have a table saw, so I'm just going to make kind of an angled cut on the end just so it looks nice, basically. So we're going to do a couple of things when we attach this. We're going to make sure to find the center of each of these bases so it's nice and centered. And then we're going to use our pipe clamp to make sure it's nice and tight when we do secure this down with our screws as well as the wood glue. All right, well, that's looking good. So next thing, we're going to do some cross members that kind of go down here just to provide a little extra support. These pieces will end up going somewhere right about like that. So these pieces will end up going underneath here to provide some extra support, and they'll kind of end up looking something like this. So we'll go ahead and get the pocket holes drilled and get them screwed in. Okay, well, the last thing to do on this will be to assemble the diamonds that go in the ends right here. We're going to use 17-inch pieces of wood that we have. We're going to keep 17 inches on the long side to assemble them, and then we're just going to use the countersink drill bit with the exterior screws to put them in place with some wood glue. So we're going to do a dry fitting first, just to make sure it all works. Awesome. That looks good. So that one side is done. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side, that diamond, done, and then we'll talk about filling and sanding. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do here is a wood filler for the holes that we used on the screws as well as the pocket holes. You can do as much or as little of this as you want. For me, I'm not going to do every single hole, but just the holes that will be visible when you sit down. I also don't have a big scraper, so what I'm going to end up doing is just pushing it down into the hole and using a big scraper that I have to just get it worked in there and somewhat level. Just got to work with what you got. Well, I tell you what, guys, I'm pretty excited about this. That was like really easy to put together. It literally took like 3 hours today to do. Moved it back here so my wife could see it when she gets home and be surprised. I'll include that. But then we'll go ahead and from here we'll sand it right here, and then when we're ready to stain it afterwards, or if we're just going to lime wax it, we'll do that right here, and we'll just put down some drop cloths. But that'll be more tomorrow. For now, yeah, it's big. It's meant 10 to 12 people, so that's exactly what we wanted.
You did it.
I built it today.
Oh, honey. Oh, honey, it's beautiful.
Hey guys, thanks for watching our first day of our patio table build. Make sure to hit the subscribe button below to be notified next week when our new video comes out about how we stain and seal and wax this new table.